head to the website. The website's hopefully behind me. Raise for, as in the number 4 charity.co.uk. Contact me, Richard at b4-business.com, and you can also follow Raise 25 on LinkedIn for latest updates, etc.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Right, really looking forward to catching up with my next guest. It's Richard Rosser, Chief Executive of B4. We're talking all about this morning about the amazing charity drive, which is Raise 25. Richard, good morning to you.
Morning, Rich. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, and actually a really, really good time to tell us all about Raise 25, because things are really getting going with this.
They certainly are. Yeah, I mean, we launched Raise last year, and I remember speaking to Nikki Gracie of Sobo House in January 24, and she said, "You're not thinking of it for this December, are you?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's give it a go." And we ended up raising £36,000 for 10 local charities, which was fantastic, with the finale at Keble College last December. And then we set the wheels in motion again in January this year. It's been a bit slower getting going. We had a big event in May, so it stopped us really focusing on Raise until the second half of the year. But we've had a launch lunch at the Le Manoir, we've had a golf day at Frilford Heath, and we've had a dinner at Randolph Hotel, where we announced, or Kate Parender of Oxfordshire Community Foundation announced the fantastic news that an anonymous donor has pledged up to 50,000 in matched funds for this year. So with nearly 20,000 on the board already, we're confident we're going to get to that magic figure of, well, 6 digits of 100,000 by, well, we've got until the end of January actually to get those funds in. So really positive.
That is absolutely incredible, and such a buzz to hear about it. And just take us back to that, the sort of the formulation of the idea about having some amazing charities who do incredible work across Oxfordshire, and kind of getting to, we've got 12 charities, am I right, this year? And
correct,
and kind of spreading the love and the wealth across all of them. Just explain, I guess, why Raise is so important.
It's a good question. I often ask myself when I'm getting thick into the sort of social media, but I love it. I was we had an event yesterday, and we were talking about sort of our mental well-being and mental health, and what you do outside of your sort of day-to-day business to sort of keep you on it, really. And I said, Raise is my medicine. Raise really helps me understand what other people are going through. I've been fairly fortunate in my life and haven't been exposed to some of the harrowing experiences that a lot of people do experience. And I think it's important to bring those experiences to light for other people to understand as well. My wife, going back to the formulation of Raise, my wife, Tina, had always wanted to do some sort of Christmas charity fundraiser. We had originally we had a number of B4 members that were charities, and I always felt a little bit awkward about charging charities to be members, but although we charge 50% less than we charge everybody else, it still didn't fit perfectly well with me. But I was seeing them all getting something out of B4 and valuing B4, and I thought, what more can we do? So I came up with this idea. As I say, I put it to Nikki Gracie originally of Sobo House, a real powerhouse of fundraising locally, as I'm sure many of your listeners will know. And she said, "Great idea, but let's look about 2025." And I said, "No, let's go for it this year." So we had 10 charities. There were 8 local, 2 national. One was Deborah nationally, through a connection whose son had experienced skin blistering, Rachel Treadwell. So we got them on board. Pancreatic Cancer UK. Sadly, I lost my father to pancreatic cancer in April 24. So I wanted to do something for them. But this year we've actually got 12 local charities and Oxfordshire charities. And I think that's an important aspect. I think it was Kate that came up with the phrase of cradle to grave. We're supporting people from cradle to grave. So it's anything from Oxfordshire Youth through to Survivor Space Oxfordshire. We got the Hoops Foundation, Plunkett UK that support community businesses, Homeless Oxfordshire Response, all sorts of charities, great charities locally. And rather than fundraise for one charity, we thought, and we couldn't do that being B4 and having a number of different charities in the community. Let's spread the love and do it for all of them.
And kind of looking at that and the sort of cradle to grave thing, it's just quite a stark comment. But actually, it's perfect, because when you're thinking about all of these wonderful charities, and we speak to many here at Get Radio, But when you have them all, dare I say, sort of almost in a line, do you know what I mean? Just kind of lined up. You've got the 12 there, and you see all the amazing work that they do for various different aspects, from whether you're, you know, middle aged, whether you're young, whether you're nearing the end of life, whether you're anything in between. It's a long old time. It's a long old period. There's a real breadth, and all of them equally as important.
Exactly, yeah, and I think one of the real big wins out of raised, other than the funds raised, was just seeing how well these charities collaborated in the formulation of Raise last year, because it was a simple idea, but it took a lot to get it sort of happening, really. But to see them all sat around the table and feeding off each other and working with each other beyond what we were doing with Raise was fantastic. And I thought it was normal. I mean, that's the collaborative nature of the B4 community. But they said they'd never done it before, and that was brilliant to see. The other point I wanted to make, Rich, is these charities, they have employees like all of us in business, and I think a lot of businesses overlook that. They want to give money for a particular bit of kit, or a course, or a building, or whatever it is, that they want to see the result of their fundraising. We're passionate about pushing the point of unrestricted funding. This money goes to charities to do with what they want. It's not a case of saying we want to see 2 midwives or whatever it is, or a bit of kit. It's unrestricted, and it's really important that we keep banging that drum for these charities, because they all rely on funding. You know, they get less and less each year, and it's important that businesses understand that. I don't want to hear sort of be educating them, but I think a lot of businesses do sort of overlook that obvious point that charities need to run, and if they can't run, they can't deliver.
No, absolutely. So I guess events and bits and bobs. I mean, you mentioned a few already, but they're going to be sort of ramping up as we head towards Christmas. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going to be happening, what's going to be going on?
Yeah, we've got the finale itself at Rhodes House on the 26th of November, and that's open to anybody to attend. Come along. It's essentially a Christmas lunch in the wonderful main hall at Rhodes House, but we have some live singing performances beforehand. So my daughter's already put herself forward. We've got Matt Jaycott from HS Composites, and we need 4 more people to sing. So anybody who fancies a bit of live singing in front of an audience of 100 plus, then please put your name forward. There's lots of events going on. I mentioned HS Composites. There's 32 members of their team that are running in memory of Matt's late father, Chris, and they'll be running at Silverstone later in November. We've got an ice bath challenge in Hayford. If anybody fancies taking a plunge for charity, please do so. And from the 5th to the 6th, it's a natural sort of window of 48 hours where we have a breakfast, a Blenheim breakfast, a B4 Blenheim breakfast, and a B4 Blenheim dinner, 5th and 6th, so starting in the morning and finishing in the evening. And in that period, I'm going to be visiting all 12 charities. I've not been to most of them, so I want to see them and understand what they do, capture a bit of content. But I'm also going around Oxfordshire to 50 businesses, asking each of those 50 businesses to pledge to raise at least £200. That will be match funded. So my target is £20,000 for that week. So if you're interested in me popping in, doing a bit of coverage for social media, and being part of a 20,000 sort of mini fundraise, if you like, then please do get in touch.
That sounds absolutely amazing and awesome. And if people do want to find out a little bit more information, if they've caught the sort of the back end of the interview, or kind of they've kind of sprung an idea and gone, oh yeah, I'm interested in that, well, it's best to kind of find out more info, and also maybe get in touch as well.
Yeah, well, head to the website. The website's hopefully behind me, raise4, as in the number 4, charity.co.uk. Contact me, Richard at b4-business.com, and you can also follow Raise25 on LinkedIn for latest updates, etc. But thanks for having me, Richard. I really appreciate the opportunity to spread the word. But please do get in touch if you'd like to find out more.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we extend that as well. It's been a great pleasure catching up with you, Richard, and best of luck with everything this year. Well done.
Thanks very much, Rich. Take care.
Cheers for that. Yeah, Richard Rosser there. She's the executive of B4, hearing about Raise25. Sounds absolutely amazing, doesn't it? And look, just sat around thinking and going, what can we do? What can we do? And suddenly there's this amazing, incredible event that is happening. As Richard says, more information, just search for B4 and Raise25. Brilliant stuff.